Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's great that y'all have been with us all day. I've been presenting all day myself, last session of the day. So we're ready to sort of wrap it up with a really cool session on whiteboard. So thank you for being here all the way to the end with us. I'm going to go and kick off with just a quick introduction of me, and then we'll jump right into the tool. My name is Monica Isabel Martinez. I am a Canva learning consultant. I oversee all of our Texas accounts for Canva, so districts all across the state. I'm quite the road warrior, but it's great to connect with y'all at PSJA because I've actually done work with you way back in the day. I've worked for TCA and other companies like Google where I was supporting, deploying different tools and so forth. So long history there since like 2008. It's been a long, long time. So it's just great to now be here with y'all under the Canva for Education umbrella. And I'm just excited to share some things with y'all today around whiteboards. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to share my screen. So give me one quick second. We're going to do, let's see here. Let me go find our tab. And then we're going to share that with audio. Here we go. All right, and I'm going to put this into presentation mode. Okay, all right. So once again, we are going to be covering whiteboards in our Canva for Education account. I've got my social media information on the screen. If you're on social media, it would be great to follow you. Please, if you follow me, I'll be able to find you. And then that way too, whenever you're creating content in Canva and you're posting it to your social accounts, feel free to tag me. I'd love to amplify that. You can also tag our Canva accounts. You go to @Canva.edu across any of the social media platforms, or even if you use any of the hashtags that we've got, that's a good way for us to be able to find your work so that we can amplify it. But it also gives us the opportunity to be able to share it with your other colleagues. Right now, there's a handful of you in here, but there might be others who want to see what you all are doing in your classes and how they can use it. So it's just a really great way to share the work. So again, if you're on social media, please share the Canva love, use our hashtags, tag us in your posts so we can find them and share them with others. All right. So now I want to get to know just a little bit about you as far as your use with Canva. It doesn't have to be specific to whiteboard. It can be just Canva in general. So if you're number one, that's like, I'm fairly new, maybe just started using Canva, go ahead and type in a number one onto the chat button there. Number two would be, you've been using it a little here and there. You kind of dabbled in it. You're starting to get comfortable with it. That's number two. Number three, you're like, yeah, I've been creating content using different tools, maybe not all of them, but you've been creating some content fairly consistent. Number four doesn't have to be daily, but you're rocking and rolling. You're like, I'm good. I can do this. Monica, get off the stage. I can do this session kind of situation. That would be you with a four. And if anyone in here has either used Canva with your student or your students have used it as a way to like maybe complete a project and submitted that to you, go ahead and jot down a number 5 in the chat. That way it just gives me an idea of how many of your students are also already using Canva. So we're doing 1 through 4, and then a 5 if you've had students use Canva in your classroom. All right, so I did see a 5 come through. Thank you for that. And then a mix of 1 through 4. Okay, perfect. All right, the next thing I'd like for you to put into the chat is, what do you teach? What grade level, what content? Let me know in the chat, please. Just drop that in there too, just to give me an idea of who's in the room with us today. And welcome to those of you who are just started to trickle in. We've just started with introductions. My name is Monica Martinez. I'm your presenter. And we're just answering some quick questions in the chat here. So your experience with Canva, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then if you've used it with students, drop in a 5. And then lastly, type in what you teach, grade level, content area. Excellent. All right, a little bit of everyone in here. That's amazing. Great to see all of you here. Okay. All right, perfect. Thanks so much, everyone, for sharing a little bit about you there. All right, so here's what we're going to do in this short time that we have together. We've got a packed agenda, but it's going to be focused on whiteboards. We're going to kick it off, though, with a little bit about what is Canva for Education. Then we're going to do a little bit of a user interface highlight in relation to whiteboards. Just recently, like a few weeks ago, back in July, Canva rolled out its new interface. So we've got new stuff and things shifted. So definitely want to do a highlight of that. And then we'll actually jump into a whiteboard and kind of collaborate and play together and use the whiteboard. So if you have your device, definitely have it handy and log into your account so that you can participate during that hands-on time. And then please use the chat to post your questions. You do not have to wait to the end to post questions. I am going to be jumping back and forth to just kind of take a look at the chat to see if there are any questions that are in there. Okay, so definitely leverage that. All right, so let's kick it off with what is Canva for Education. So many of you have said you've been using Canva. Perhaps some of you started using it before your school district even started using Canva, or maybe some of you have more than one account because you have your school account and you have your personal account. So it's important to know how to toggle between them, which I'm going to show you here in just a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what Canva for Education is, because it's definitely different from just a regular account. For example, in your Canva for Education account, I'm going to share this with you. You've got over on the right-hand side a menu you can toggle open where you can see your multiple accounts. You want to be under your Canva for Education account, okay? And within your Canva for Education account, you are going to be able to leverage the pro features. Pro features like being able to leverage the magic write tool where it writes things based off your prompts, or being able to mash up content like a video that you create and then put another video on top, or remove the background. So no more need for a green screen because you can remove backgrounds from videos and photos and things like that. Those are the magic features that you're going to be able to leverage. The other thing when you're under your school account is that sharing becomes so much easier. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But up here again at the top right is where you toggle that open. Make sure you select your school account, because it is under your school account that you're going to benefit from all of the features that are available within Canva. All right, let's go back here once again and move on here. So within Canva, you're going to find a suite of applications, including docs, whiteboards, presentations, all kinds of stuff. In today's sessions, we're going to focus specifically on whiteboard and a little bit of presentations, because you can actually, in presentation, expand into a whiteboard. There's a little bit of feedback from someone. If you can mute, looks like Christina, you've got there. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we're going to take a look at those two applications specifically in this session, but I'm going to give you a resource that is going to give you access to learn more about the other tools as well. Within Canva for Education, you're going to find that there are nearly 700,000 templates that you can leverage and use. And out of those 700,000, 80,000 of them are education specific. But all of these are customizable, whether it's education specific or not. You can select any one of those and customize it and make it your own to include the content you want to include. All right, so let's dive in and take a look. We're going to kick this off at our home page. So from your home page, you'll notice that this is a brand new look and feel to Canva's dashboard. This is your main page, your home page. On the left, you have a whole new column that used to be combined with this one, and it was just one big one with a whole bunch of stuff that you had to scroll through. And now you have two. And in the first column, you have important things like your projects and your templates and so forth. Your projects, whenever you create something, this is where it will appear. If your colleagues create something or your students create something and they share it with you, this is where you would find those items as well. I'm going to move over to templates because I want us to look at the template gallery here. I mentioned earlier, nearly 700,000. That's a lot of templates to have to sift through. Well, note that in this section here, you can filter by doc type. So today, for example, we're going to do whiteboard. So I can go into whiteboard and filter only by whiteboards and only get whiteboards as my search result. So this is a lot less than trying to filter through all of the doc types, but instead I'm just going to look at whiteboards. In addition to doing it that way, right here in this section, you can filter further by theme. and say, I only want school and education related templates that happen to be whiteboards. And now you get very specific things. For example, I've got a poll, I've got a word web, a story map, 5 Ws, the KWL chart. I've got a process infographic and all kinds of cool stuff like that. I'm going to select this 3 kinds of kindness. It's one of my favorite activities to do. And once you find the activity you want to do, you're going to click on customize this template, and it's going to open up that particular template, which you can now customize. So for example, when we do this, like I don't necessarily want to use these stickies that they've selected. Instead, I want to create and use a different kind of sticky. So I'm just deleting these because I'm like, I don't want these. We're going to use a different kind of sticky that I want us to use for this activity. Now, I do like the prompt, so there's not a lot here that I'm going to change. The activity is, how will you practice each kind of kindness? Use this space to track your actions. So what I'm going to ask y'all to do is to use a sticky note to give us an example of the kind of kindness you might do when you're showing kindness to yourself, or maybe when you're showing kindness to others or kindness to the world. So for example, if I'm showing kindness to myself, maybe my example is I'm patient with myself, I'm compassionate with myself, or maybe it's something like I buy myself a Starbucks at the end of my day, you know, pep up my day regardless of the kind of day I had. Kindness to others can be something like perhaps you check in with your family and friends once a week to check in on them and see how they're doing. Kindness to the world can be something like I use a recycle bag when I go grocery shopping so that I don't have to use plastic or paper bags, but instead I've got my own recycle bag that I can use over and over again. So those are the 3 categories. You're going to add a kindness to each of those using sticky notes. I'll show you that in a second. But before I do that, I've already tweaked this. This is the design I like. I'm good to go. The content is good. So I'm going to select everything you see on my screen by clicking and dragging from the outside over every single element. And then once I do that, down here at the bottom, there are 3 little dots, and there's also a group button. So you can group your items. Okay, so that's one thing you can do, but I'm also going to go to the 3 little dots, and I'm going to say lock. I'm locking these items down so that when you come in here and start to drag and drop items around the whiteboard, you don't accidentally remove anything, delete anything, that kind of thing. Okay. So I've locked this down now. Now I'm going to go over to the left-hand side, and I'm going to go to my editor, and I'm going to elements. And you see I've got some sticky options. I've got some shapes. I'm going to use stickies. So what I'm going to do is just move this over to the side, and I'm going to bring in a sticky note. Here's my sticky. And I'm just going to paste, let's just do this here and paste, and then bring in another one. And so you can bring in multiple stickies. You can also just paste these anywhere. So we're going to stick to this left-hand side. And I'm just going to drag over a whole bunch of stickies. So you can do that. I'm just going to paste a whole bunch. I think there was about 40 the last time I looked at you guys. I'm just pasting a whole bunch of them. If we run out, we can add more. You'll see that within the templates, there's already templates that have the sticky notes already out so that you don't have to do this that I'm doing now. But this particular template just didn't have it. It instead had the little paper one, which I ended up deleting. So I just did a copy paste of a whole bunch of these stickies. So you're going to come in here as soon as I give you edit rights, you're going to be able to come in here and grab a sticky note, and you're going to do the following. You're going to grab a sticky note from here, and you're going to bring it over, right? And it looks kind of small right now. I can't quite see. So I want to show you a quick little trick. Down here at the bottom, there's a lever to zoom in so you can see it better. You can also on your keyboard do Control plus, Control minus. If you're on a Mac, you can do Command plus, Command minus. And you'll notice that all the stickies have my name because I created this sticky. But once you come in here to start and type, by double clicking, it'll give you the blinking cursor. You can then, you'll notice that it'll automatically change to your name because you're the one that's typing in that sticky. So I'm going to say, I buy myself a Starbucks at the end of the week to celebrate my accomplishments. All right, so that's my sticky. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go grab another sticky, and that one will go into the second box, and you're going to type in a kindness to other, and then the third is going to be a kindness to the world. So you're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to drop these in here. Now, one quick thing, when you all come in here, as you start to type, you're going to see a lot of your colleagues are going to be in here also doing their thing. I'll show you a quick example. See this one here, and let me zoom in. These were your colleagues earlier today doing exactly the same activity. So they were dropping in their little sticky notes and answering. So one quick thing, as you can see, they've dropped in some graphics, some animations, you know, all kinds of cool things. You don't have to limit yourself to just the sticky notes, but you're starting with the sticky notes. And once you've added your sticky notes, feel free to go back over to your elements and bring over shapes, maybe some graphics, maybe some videos, some photos. Feel free to add more to it as well. Okay. All right. Last step I'm going to do here before I share this. So last thing, everything here is locked down. You're going to be able to grab your stickies. I need to share this document with you. So I'm going to come up to the top right here, and I'm going to select the share button. You can add individuals here at the top. You can also toggle this menu down and say anyone at my campus can view or edit or etc. Because I don't have your accounts, your emails, I'm going to say anyone with a link can edit, but know that you have a can view, can't comment option as well. We're going to leave it as can edit. I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to come down over into the chat. I'm going to paste that in. Go ahead and select that. And then make your way back over to our, jump into our whiteboard, grab your sticky, and do not stretch it and make it humongous, right? You're not trying to make it big. You have to click it to grab it. So click and drag in order to get it. And then drag it over onto the page. And you're going to answer it. And you'll notice when somebody is on a sticky, it has their name on it. You can see it's color coded and it's got their name. So do not grab somebody else's sticky. Make sure you're grabbing one that doesn't have anyone on it. Again, you can tell because it puts a bounding box around it and it's got their name on it and so forth. All right. I'm going to give you all about just a couple minutes here to complete this activity. I'm selecting some music from my timer. I'm going to put a 3-minute timer. And there we go. If you have a question or are struggling with something as you're doing this activity, feel free to come back to the chat and ask there. Oh, Linda, I'm right there with you. I love napping. Oh, I definitely like going for hikes and for walks. That's a good one too, Carmen. Oh, great message there from Stefan. Be happy to self and accept for who you are. I love it. Oh, just simply smiling at people. I think that's great. I think that brightens up people's days. That's happened to me. It's kind of like you're passing on the good fortune, the good smile, the good spirit. Good one. Thrift instead of buying. Reusable shopping bags. Oh, I like that you added a little image to that. That's great. All right, y'all, have about a minute left. Don't forget to go grab some stickers, some videos, some all kinds of other stuff. Feel free to bring more things over. Remember, you don't have to make your stickies really big because you can zoom in and out. So use that plus control minus to zoom in and out, or that lever down at the bottom. All right, you have about 20 seconds left here. No rush if you didn't get to all of it. It's just for the purpose of getting familiar with the tool. Somebody just brought a little car in. Super cute. All right. Okay. So time is up, and what I'm going to do here, I know it's going to seem like I'm being mean, but I'm going to take your edit rights away and give you now just view rights. This is a good classroom management strategy to come up to the share button and say, okay, we're done with this activity. We've met our time here. Time's up. So we're going to now switch over to something else. So I've just taken away your edit rights, and now you only have view rights. You're not going to be able to edit this anymore. And I'm doing this because I want us to all come back together and now maybe have a discussion around something. Maybe we're going to zoom in here and now take a look at our findings and what your colleagues wrote on here. So maybe we're just coming through to do that. Or maybe we need to move on to something else, right? So it's a good little strategy there to use that. I'm going to zoom back out because I want to show you a couple of quick things here. So I'm just going to move this one over here. And this one, because I don't want to mess with the two that are there, and this one down here. And instead, I'm just going to grab a couple of these that are just still, I think, mine that I brought over last time from the initial time. So I want to show you one quick thing. So this activity that we did, we were telling it, basically the prompt was grab a sticky, drop the sticky over into any one of the three columns addressing the three different items that we did, right? The three prompts. I'm just creating more here, and I'm just doing it really quickly. Let's say that the prompt had been instead, grab a sticky and color it a certain color if it's going to be a kindness to self. So if it's an example of kindness to self, grab a sticky and turn it to the color, and we can pick a color like pink. And then kindness to the world, grab a sticky and change it to the color green, and that's going to be kindness to the world. And then yellow is kindness to others. So that could have been the prompt, because there might be some times where you're doing this sort of an impromptu in the moment and you just want to do a really quick activity and you didn't necessarily have time to set something up like this and lock your items and that kind of thing. You can do this on the fly and still be able to categorize these into columns because you've told your students to color code them by those colors. When you select all of your stickies that are different colors, you now have a sort option. This is brand new. This just got rolled out not too long ago, where you now click on sort and you can sort by topic, by color, or by name. So I'm going to select by color, and you're going to see all of these are going to be nicely organized for me into three different groups because we did three different colors. All right, I'm going to undo and do that one more time. So again, all I did here was place my stickies, right? And they're in three different colors. Doesn't matter where they are. I'm going to click and drag to select all of them. I'm going to click on sort. I'm doing sort by color, and voila, it gave them to me in this nice clean look, where I can then go up in here and change that title to say kindness to self, and then I could do kindness to others, kindness to the world. All right, so that is one nice little feature there in using stickies. Okay, the next thing I'm going to share with you. So I'm just going to come over to some new space over here. I'm going to go to my elements. And from elements, we use stickies just now. I'm going to show you now the shape feature. I'm going to click on shape. And you'll notice that when you bring a shape over, just like with a sticky, it's got in every side, it's got this little arrow where you can add another shape. So we're going to do a shape this way, and then a shape up, and then a shape this way, and maybe this way. You can come back to a previous one and do a shape this way. You'll notice that with shapes, let me zoom out. With shapes, it adds connecting lines so that when you move these, it has connectors and it auto adjusts the line with it. So these are really great for mind mapping, flow charts. Maybe you're creating a timeline, a historical event, and then the timeline for that event. And you need to add, you know, maybe some new ones and then maybe change up the direction of something, or this happened here, this happened there, etc. So these are really nice to be able to do those kinds of projects. And you'll notice, let me come back over to a sticky. You can't do that to a sticky. Yes, you can add another sticky, but your stickies do not have connecting lines. Okay, so that's definitely one difference between the two. So definitely check out those, and you can do more than just that line. Under shapes, if you click on see all, you're going to see different kinds of lines and different kinds of shapes. So I'm going to give you edit rights here in just a second again, where you're going to go in and play with your shapes. The other thing I want you to test out is the comment feature on any one of these items that we're creating, whether it be a shape or a sticky. Let's go back to our stickies here really quick. Whether it be a shape or a sticky, let's say I wanted to leave a note for somebody. So here we've got, I shop for clothes or shoes to reward myself. Oh, I'm right there with you. Let's go shopping, Lisa. I'm good with that. So I'm going to select Lisa's sticky note, and notice that above it, a little bubble pops up, and the first option is to add a comment. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to say, I'm game. When are we going? So I'm leaving Lisa a sticky note here, so I can go ahead and, sorry, a comment onto that sticky note. And let me come over to another one. Oh, I love this. Always hear your inner self. So maybe I'll come in here and I'm going to leave a comment as well. If you at somebody, if you actually add the at symbol, you can actually tag people. You can actually, because when you do that, it's different than just typing something in, because when you at someone, you're actually able to leave them a message. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use my personal account here. I really like this. We should also practice, right? When I do that, I can assign it to that person or not assign it. You don't actually have to assign, but you can. And the reason why it's saying share this design is because this account currently doesn't have access to this. So I can share with comment or edit rights to this particular account. If they already had access, like all of you, then it wouldn't require you to share the design. But by simply putting the at symbol in front of their account information, what it's going to do is it's going to send that account an email, and it's also going to show up in their notifications. Do y'all remember at the very beginning, I had shown you off the home page where your account info is up here at the top right, where you can toggle? Well, next to that menu is a little bell. This is your notifications. If somebody has shared something with you or left you a comment, you'll find that under that little notification bell. And it'll also email you and show you, hey, you've got a comment that somebody left you. Or if somebody shared a document with you, like this whiteboard, you'll have an email that says, Monica has shared a whiteboard with you. So all of that becomes available to you from there. Okay. All right. So again, here's the prompt. This is what you're going to do next. I'm going to give you edit rights again. You are going to try out your shape. So go into the shape section, click on see all, drag over some shapes, maybe change up some of the lines, and then play around moving the lines around, or the objects around, so that it moves the lines around. And the other thing that you're going to do is you're going to come into a sticky note. You're going to leave somebody a comment. And I saw that some of you already started doing that. So excellent. All right. So now you can't get in yet because I first have to share the design with you. So let me back out here. I need to go back in to share and change the settings from view to can edit. You might have to refresh the page. And if that still doesn't work, you can go back, close it out, and go back to our Teams meeting, go back into the link, just click the link again to open it up. Oh, I'm sorry, your mouse isn't working. All right, so you should be back in the design. You now have editing rights again. So go ahead and test out those features. Go find yourself a different spot somewhere On the whiteboard, you have infinite canvas, so you can move around, go somewhere else on the page. You don't have to stay specifically where we were. Move around, create a blank space for yourself somewhere, and start dropping some shapes. If you didn't get a chance previously to bring over graphics and things like that, go ahead and do that now. Maybe some images, videos. Leave a comment. Make sure you're leaving comments. Check out that feature. All right, once again, I'm going to set the timer. I'm going to add some music. I'm going to change it up and do something a little energetic to keep us going the rest of this afternoon. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes here to All right, you've got about a minute left. Okay, time is up. Let me hide this timer. Let me just redo here and hide it. All right, so I did see definitely more happening on the screen this time. See a lot of graphics, things like that. Lots of comments coming through. Thank you for adding your comments. All right, so a couple last things I want to share with you here. There's definitely more to explore, but I just want to highlight a couple of things. One is that we have infinite canvas. And let me jump back in. Yes, I'm going to be mean again. I'm going to take your rights away. It is now view rights only, so you can no longer edit. All right. So on my screen, if you're back on with me here, you'll notice down at the bottom, there is a lever where it says page 1 of 1 here. It's at 13%. I can zoom out quite a bit and you can see how much of the canvas we haven't even started using yet. Majority of you have been right up in here where we had our activity, right? But there's so much more space. And what that means is that we can do more than just the one activity. So I'm going to move this over and I'm going to come over to templates. And from my template gallery, maybe I want to add a SWOT analysis to this. And I click on that and it's going to drop it right in here to the right-hand side, where once again, I can come in and delete things we don't need. So let's say we don't want that portion. So I'm deleting some stuff here and only keeping the parts we want. And then maybe I also, in addition to a SWOT analysis, maybe I want to do, let's bring this little guy in. So this has, like say, it's like to draft a plan. So it looks like this one you can use to jot down your ideas, maybe your questions, you know, something like that. You're going to jump out of that. So there's so many more things that you can bring in to the exact same item. So think about your students that are maybe working on projects and you want them to have sort of some brainstorming on like what is their project going to be about. So maybe you create a space for that inside of your whiteboard here for brainstorming. Once they decide what they're going to do, maybe you have a rubric that you also bring in here where they need to address certain things. And maybe you've got a project planner. You can see here you've got, you know, a meeting or a schedule. They can create a calendar and use that. Here's a mood board that they can use for branding. So maybe their project is around branding for their, let's say they had to create a product. And now once they create their product, they have to come in here and actually lay out what is their logo going to look like, what's the color palette they're using for their logo and their entire product, what are the fonts they're going to use for the product, what image types are they going to use, etc. So these are some really great templates to use for projects and so forth. But what I was getting at really here is that there is so much space on here for us to be able to create a really great brainstorming space, a collaborative space to do group work or also individual work. It doesn't have to necessarily be collaborative the way it was in our example here. The other thing, in addition to that, so I'm going to just close this out. Earlier, you saw that I used the apps to be able to create. Oh, that was a different lesson. Sorry, that was another class. Let me show you really quick. I was like, wait a second, I'm getting confused. Under the app section here in the editor, if I needed to share this, think about back to school that's coming up. You might, you're going to have like parent nights and things like that. If you want to do something fun with them using Whiteboard, but you also don't have their account and they're not logged into a virtual session like this. So the best thing here you can do is create a QR code, right? So we're going to come up here to search and say QR code. And what I'm searching right now are apps. Apps are third party and also Canva specific apps that you can leverage within your designs. And what I want to do is just create a QR code for this whiteboard so that my parents could just scan it in and participate on their mobile phones. Now it's asking me for the web address to this particular whiteboard. So I have to go to share. I have to say anyone with the link, and then I have to change that. You know, if I want them to edit, I'm going to say can't edit, and then copy that link, come over here, paste in that link. Throw that away there. That's not where I meant to put it. Okay, generate code. And you notice that it just dropped in a QR code for me. So now I can have my parents scan in that QR code and participate in this whiteboard on the fly. So it's just an activity that you're building on the fly. Your parents can participate because they can scan in that code with their mobile devices. So definitely leverage your third-party apps. Again, that's located on the left-hand side. It's a button that says apps. And then you can do a search for whatever app you want. I happen to do the QR code. Just so you know, off of your home page, let's just go back home here really quick. On the left-hand side, you've got apps down here as well. This gives you a broader view, but it also lets you know what apps are trending, what are some new apps or noteworthy apps to explore, etc. So these are already kind of filtered and have some categories for you to sift through, which is a really great starting point for your apps. All right, so we don't have a lot of time left. I want to spend the rest of the time here showing you how you can leverage whiteboards, but from a presentation, not necessarily from a whiteboard here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to jump into a presentation to show you. I'm going to come back to our home page. Oh, I'm already on home. From our home page, I'm going to go to the home button over here on the left. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a presentation template. And I'm doing a template because we're pretending we already have a presentation that we're using. Maybe it's our lesson. I'm going to come to presentations here. And I'm just simply going to select any one presentation, but I'm going to filter further by school and education so that we use an education related template in our example. So I'm just going to pick this one here. It's a cute one. It's looks like it's an intro one that maybe you can do as part of a back to school activity that you're doing with your kids. I'm going to say customize this template. You'll notice that now I'm in presentations. I'm no longer in the whiteboard, but from presentations, you can use one of your slides as a whiteboard. So we're going to push it out to be a whiteboard, but it stays within your presentation. So for example, maybe the instructions for your students is you're going to create a slide deck, 10 pages where you're introducing yourself to all of the other students in class. So slide 1, you're required to include just your name. Slide 2, we want you maybe to write your full name and share how you pronounce your name, so you can ask students to come in here maybe and under upload record themselves pronouncing their name. So that could be something that you do there. All right, let me come back out, and let's say slide 3, you start to give us some details. I'm going to close this out. Let's say on slide 3, the prompt is, I want you to add you've got a rubric that says 5 different favorite foods, 4 different colors that you like. I want you to include activities you enjoy doing. You've got all kinds of prompts and different things like that. And you're going to want to share this presentation with all your other peers so that they can come and see and then also give you feedback. So perhaps this slide here is where I'm being asked as the student to add all this layer of detail. Well, this would get really cluttered in a slide. So instead, I'm going to select slide 3 at the bottom. I'm going to click on the 3 little dots. The 3 little dots will appear only when you hover into that slide. I'm going to click on the 3 little dots, and then I'm going to say expand to whiteboard. So from a slide, we're going to convert it into a whiteboard. And you can tell because I can now use my lever here and zoom all the way out just like we did before. And everything that we did in our whiteboard previously, you can now do in this presentation. So once again, if you've asked me to reflect on things I enjoy doing, maybe I'm going to use sticky notes. And in each sticky, I'm going to come in here and say, I enjoy walks in the park. And then maybe get a different sticky. And in this sticky, I'm going to say, I like to go to the beach, etc. Right? So the student now has way more space to be able to do all of this. And that's also going to allow other students, if the prompt is, okay, now share with your peers, and the students share those out with other students, then just like you all were doing earlier, you can instruct the students to give a positive affirmation on slide 3 to that student. So now all of your other students maybe come in here and they like drop in, like all these cute little fun stickers and, giving that student feedback. Maybe the prompt is also, if you like something similar to that person, leave them a comment and say, oh, I like this too. Or, tell me more about this. Or, you decide what that prompt's going to be for that particular activity. But again, you'll notice, let me put this in grid view. You'll notice that this is a presentation, right? Like we have a presentation here, but it just so happens that one of the slides is an actual whiteboard. Let's go back in. Let me close this out over here. So again, this is a whiteboard here. At any point, you can say, convert this whiteboard back into a slide. So we're going to collapse the whiteboard. And this is now a slide again, but it retains all of the different elements that we added to it. At any point, you can say, go back and expand to whiteboard again, because I, want to add and take advantage of more of the space around here. One additional feature I want to share with you. I'm going to go back to your whiteboard. From your whiteboard, when you go to uploads, you can upload your own content. Okay, so we're going to go to uploads on the left. You can upload images, video, and audio content. Okay, but notice there's no record button. You cannot record in a whiteboard at this time. But if we go to the presentation that we opened and we expand a slide to a whiteboard like we've done here, on the left, I can go to uploads and you'll find that there's a record button. So as the student, I can explain this. I can actually record myself saying, I'm 8 years old and I'm in the 3rd grade and I really like to go to the beach. I like to swim, ... yada, yada, yada. Let's go ahead. I should have probably hit record when I was saying that. So you can record yourself like I'm now doing, and where you're saying, as the student in this case would be saying, I'm 8 years old. I am in 3rd grade. I like going to the beach, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. They can pause it in case they need to see, like, what else am I going to say? Resume recording, keep going. Once they're done, they click on done. Up at the top right, save and exit. Self, like I'm now doing, and where you're saying, as the self, like I'm now doing. All right, so here's our recording of that we just did that now goes along with this particular slide that is a part of our reflection here, whatever you've asked the student to do. Now, I've got a lot of stuff behind me here, so maybe I want to click on the background remover and I can remove the background from that video so that I don't actually have all of that background stuff. And from my elements, I could potentially select like a circle or a shape or something and put myself into like a little graphic, something like this, where it shows that this is what I'm saying. So you can, kind of have some fun here with this. See now how I'm no longer, you don't see my background info. We just got rid of my background stuff. So I can then just bring myself up here. I'm gonna have to change the order here because that is sitting behind it. So let's layer, bring to front. All right, so you get the idea. I'm doing sort of a little bit of a bad job there, but it's just a demo. So I wanted to show you that from here, from your presentations, you can also leverage Whiteboard and actually do recordings, which is an extra feature that you can't do separately. Okay, we are near time here, so this is what I'm going to show you next. In the presentation that I'm about to share with you, you're going to get to a section that's called How Can You Use Whiteboards? And there are categories. So there are three different sections in here. How can you use whiteboards to be used with as a teacher, in the classroom, and as a student? And each of these sections is going to have a slide that shows case examples. So like a teacher can use it for parent communication, for newsletters, for homework. And then you'll see some examples. So you have some templates in there. And then you'll get to how can you use it in the classroom? And you'll see some examples of how you can use it in the classroom. So I'm going to come back here. You're going to get everything we did with screenshots and all kinds of detail and information. And again, within that same slide deck, you're going to get this presentation with all of that detail. So here is the QR code. I'm going to present this so you can get it. You also have a bit.ly link. And from that bit.ly link, which I'll also drop in the chat, you're going to be able to get to all of that stuff. All right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes here. You've got just a couple of minutes. We still have a little bit of time. So, but go ahead and snag that that QR code or come to the chat. And actually, that didn't fully come through with the entire link. Hang tight. Let me get the link that's got the HTTP on it. And I'm going to drop it in here again. There we go. All right, so you want to get that link. That's going to be your resource. And then, thank you. They've already dropped in your session evaluation. So that's another thing you're going to want to complete before you wrap up here. So you've got those two items that you want to do. One is get the resource and maybe bookmark it, and then to complete that survey.